Hey, what is up, all you awesome, amazing people out there watching? Thank you so much for checking it out. This is Odin here, giving you a retrospective of the last year as we draw to the end of 2022 and slide into the new year. We look back on this past year. We look ahead on this new coming 2023. And realize that all that has happened, everything we've gone through, all the way through 2022, it is now in the rear view. 2022 is in the rear view, and 2023, well, we'll just have to see. But what a year it has been, and what a year it is going to be. And I can only project, and as you look ahead to this next year, I'm not big on New Year's resolutions, so to speak. But of course, I have plans, I have visions, I have hopes, I have optimism, I have projections. How I want this year to unfold. Now, that said, I know that it's not going to go how I think it will. But nonetheless, you make those projections. You try to map it out. You try to create a battle plan and a hopeful end so that when you come to this point in the next year that you can be proud of what you've accomplished despite all the bumps and bruises along the way. And 2022 is full of both of those things, pride moments as well as a large amount of bumps and bruises, life altering, heartache filled, grief filled moments. So, as many of you know, I've talked about on my channel here quite a bit. New Year's Day last year, as I always started the year 1 year ago, that was when my father passed away. That's when I said goodbye, and he shuffled off this mortal coil, as Shakespeare would say. And that's how we started the year. And coming up on that anniversary, that is it's going to be heavy on my heart, guaranteed. It's already starting, as it has been all year. That is part of the reason why, if you haven't noticed, I went with the stash and the soul patch. That is my dad's preferred look. He's a cowboy through and through. I remember as a kid, sometimes he had a beard, very rarely. And when I was really young, I remember there was times he was clean shaven. But most of my life, my dad rocked the mustache and the soul patch. And so I shaved the beard and kept the mustache and the soul patch. As a tribute to him, I kind of like it. I like it and I don't. But I always get so bored with facial hair that I change it up all the time. So we'll see how long this lasts. But as I wear it, I'm either like an extra in a Tombstone movie, or I actually thought it kind of looked like Daniel Day-Lewis, either in Gangs of New York or There Will Be Blood. He rocked the mustache pretty well. So in honor of my dad. But that's how 2022 started. Talk about setting a tone. But there's two ways to look at grief, and this is going to be like not a New Year's resolution, but an optimistic vision, hope for 2023 as well, is that you don't want your grief to hinder you. You don't want it to hold you back, because that's not honoring to the memory of the person that you're grieving. These are my parents, because I'm also, the 10-year anniversary of my mom passing away will be January 3rd. So they're right there, boom. New Year's Day, then the 3rd. But I have to think about, amidst the grief, as I get to that moment, it's going to be a tough time of year. It's going to be like that every year. It's just what it is. But it's also a motivator, and you have to look at it properly and think, what am I doing that, were they still alive, they would be proud of? What can I do with my life? What choices will I make to honor their legacy and their memory. That's how we're going into this. And that's how I went about it in 2022. It was a big motivator for me after my dad passed to get cooking on Unconditional Shove. I wanted to make it. And that just gave me a little boost, you know, to honor my father, one of the greatest men I've ever known. And at the time, like I said, a year ago today, I wouldn't have guessed where I would be. Because at that time, a year ago today, my father was still alive. He did pass shortly, a few days after. It is the 30th, New Year's Eve. I was also engaged at the time. So you're planning a life with somebody. You have, again, visions, projections, what you think the future is going to be like. And that was a big part of those projections, obviously. But the engagement ended and we called it off and went our separate ways late March. And then that leaves like a void, right? You know, my dad passed away. That leaves a void. You know, ending a relationship, that leaves a void. You're doing lots of things. You're planning lots of things with this person. Then you're like, okay, now it's back to just me. What do we do? So that was the time that I said, okay, it's a really good time for me to dive right into this community of comic book related streaming and just the people of Comicsgate, that world. As I figured they're comic book fans of like mind, and this is my best this is the market I appreciate the most and where I fall in myself demographically. You know, it's somewhat political, but it's mostly just, you know, a mindset of integrity. And I was like, yeah, these are my people, but they don't know me. And so I had to get out there and let it be known that I'm out here and I'm making a book and I think it's awesome and I think you're gonna love it. So, you know, check it out. But first, let's get to know each other. So I would venture a guess to say 90%, maybe more, 95 of people watching this video now didn't know me, had no idea who I was a year ago. So as we come to the end of this year, realizing that we haven't even known each other a year. We were not aware. You know, some of you I might not even know now, but neither here nor there. And you might not even know me, but that's neither here nor there. A year ago, the chances of you knowing who I was and watching this video, they're just slim. I'm sure there's a few of you. And that was barely even half a year ago. Just over a half a year ago. So I jumped on 80s Made Consumer stream, broke my stream cherry, and it went well. You know, I showed some artwork and people were excited and he asked me back and we came back, hung out quite often, and then met James, Broken Compass Comics, and we started brainstorming a vision for what we wanted to create. What kind of stories, what kind of entertainment did we want to bring to the masses? And how could we be successful at it? And what was our future going to look like? Well, that all snowballed and worked its way into Unconditional Shove finally going live on crowdfunding. But first, before that happened, mid-October, so we launched on Halloween, but mid-October, my daughters and their mom up and moved to Missouri, which is not very close. And speaking of which, I just had them. They were just here for Christmas break, almost 2 weeks. And we had a great time. I missed them so much. They missed me. It was fun. Unfortunately, the last few days, my daughter got very sick. My oldest, so sick, in fact, that we ended up in the ER. So sick, in fact, that not only did we end up in the ER, but we were there all day. And then they gave us a room, and we stayed the night. And we were there all day the next day. But she did progress and get quite quickly got better. And they discharged us. That was Wednesday night. Oh, about 9 o'clock. But between getting her prescriptions and picking up her sisters who were staying with their mom's sister who still lives out here. They were staying with her while I was with my oldest in the hospital, sleeping in that couch that's not made for 6'4" dudes. Nurses coming in and out, waking us up all through the night, doing with their job. But anyway, after getting her prescriptions, picking up her sisters, icy ass roads notwithstanding, we got back to my house a little after midnight. I had to make sure that they got all packed and ready to go. Everything ready because we need to get some sleep because 4 a.m. is coming quick. Well, 4 a.m. we had to get up, load up all their stuff, take them to the airport where they flew as unaccompanied minors, which my oldest, after getting out of the hospital, poor girl, then she had this weight of burden. Her sisters didn't care. They're like, we'll get home. She had this weight of like responsibility about taking care of her and her sisters. But, like, you pay a little extra, you get like a chaperone or something, like, and they assured me like their daughters will never not be with an adult, and they had a layover. They will take them to their new gate, get them all situated, show them what to do. Everything was all taken care of. They even have their boarding passes, like the attendant, whoever is with them, takes their boarding passes for them and takes care of everything. So I had to assure her, like, you don't have any responsibilities. Just do what the person says, and if you have any questions, ask. They're there for you. Just like the nurses at the hospital. But anyway, after I said goodbye to them, as I flew back to their moms, I went straight away to work right after the airport. And then last day of the year, lots to wrap up before I called it for the year. Had a big meeting with one of our bigger clients, a few towns over, so I had to drive for that. And my day with that, I came home, fell on my bed, and was out. It's like one of those where you just disappear into your bed and time travel, dimension travel, I don't know. You go somewhere else. That deep sleep that you're just like, somebody could break into your house and be like kicking your ass and stabbing you, and you probably wouldn't even wake up. You're just gone. Anyway, that was that night. And unfortunately, I had a few streaming commitments that I had to break. I mean, they understood. If my daughter was in the hospital, obviously it's not going to happen, but that was a whirlwind. And then I get back home, and there's remnants, that my daughters were here. It's like there's all this commotion when they're around. There's giggling, there's fighting, there's cupboards closing, there's doors closing, there's TV on, there's all this stuff going on, all this noise. It's just buzzing. And then when they go home, and I come back, it's like it's so quiet. It's too quiet. And there's just remnants. Like, it's kind of a mess. We were in a hurry. Everything was kind of messy from Christmas and hospital and packing and going to the airport. So there's all this mess. Just like a reminder of the whirlwind that was there and gone. And it's always hard for me. That part's always the hardest. Like the house being quiet again. And so we clean it up. and miss them. They got home safe. And that's how we end the year. So the big question for my 2023 is, well, there's a lot of questions. The biggest one is, in my life, where the heck am I? Where am I going geographically? They up and moved to Missouri. I don't have any interest in moving there, but one really big interest. And so I'll probably end up there. I'm going out there for their spring break. Get an Airbnb, hang out, see what Missouri's all about. Maybe line up some job interviews. Who knows? That's a big question. So again, everything leading up to this point, 2023, who knows? There's part of me that contemplates going back to Colorado. When I went out there, my dad lived in Walsenburg, Colorado. It's near New Mexico border. Southern Colorado feels very different than northern Colorado. Southern Colorado is just an extension of New Mexico. It's mountainy desert, which, I mean, in my mind, it's beautiful. And I go out there for my dad's funeral last year, and I was just like, there was a sense of like, this is home. Even though I lived in northern Colorado most of my life. I lived in Walsenburg for a couple of years. But I went down there and I was just like, I could totally live here. Now that said, that's still not close to my daughters, so we'll probably end up in Missouri, but maybe long term. I wouldn't mind. There's a charm to something. I mean, it's so isolated. I just love it. It seems so appealing to me. And it's way cheaper than the rest of Colorado. You go up north of Colorado Springs, forget it. It's expensive. But south of Colorado Springs, Pueblo and further south. Pueblo, I was born in Pueblo. Fond memories of that area. Much, much cheaper. Because there's nothing going on. But I could do this just as easy there as I could do here, or in Missouri, or anywhere else. So, we will see. That's my big question going into 2023. Let's see. Let's look back. A retrospective 2022, like I said, it started crazy. My dad passing away. My fiance and I parting. Then I met a bunch of people in the comic book world. You know, other creators, fans, content makers on YouTube, streamers. Lots of people. It's been interesting, to say the least. Because there's a whole dynamic to it that I didn't know or care about to begin with, and now I'm like, oh man, I know too much. I don't want to know this stuff. I could totally live without a lot of the inside, almost a drama. I guess it is drama. It's the gossip world and weird shit like that. I'm like, and anytime people do it, I'm just like, I don't want to. I don't care. I really don't want to hear about other people. At the end of the day, what I want to do is create. All I want to do is create, find an audience that loves the creation. Really, it's been a great year because I have found plenty of people who are excited about this, people who put down their hard-earned money, all the backers for Unconditional Show. Thank you so much. So we get through that phase. I meet James and we launch the campaign Halloween. And now we're at the end of the campaign. It just ended. We reached our goal, which is great. There was a time when I was slightly worried. We did reach the funding goal, and now in demand probably for another month or two. And I believe I'm finding the audience. It's humble beginnings. And I'll always say, never ever despise humble beginnings. But as much as they're humble beginnings, it's still mind-blowing to me that people, you know, are throwing their money towards this dream of mine because they're interested. And I believe in it. I think they're going to love it. But that said, it never stops being humbling. It never stops being mind-blowing. And so even though it's humble beginnings, you know, it's not some six-figure campaign. It didn't have to be. It just had to be a campaign. I just had to make this. I had to create this vision and get the ball rolling and say, this is what I'm doing now. And I'm excited. I'm really excited for the future. Unconditional Shove's future. Broken Compass Comics future. Just as a whole. Plenty of plans as we talk about 2023. Plenty of plans. And that's the biggest one is, like I said, I don't care about anything else. I care about this. I like creating. I want to write stories. I want to draw them. I want to watch them come to life. And I want to get them into hands of people that would love them. So I want to find my audience and build that audience. Obviously, you want it to be as big as possible. But this is a labor of love no matter what. I thoroughly enjoy doing this. I love making comic books. And this is the first one. But it's invigorating. It's so much fun. And tons of story ideas coming along for Unconditional Shove Volume 2. So much so that I'm contemplating slight change. This one was 2 pretty decent sized stories. Whereas there's so many cool stories that I want to do that I'm thinking we might do more condensed stories and then more of them, which would be similar to like EC, eerie and creepy anthologies of the past, which would do anywhere from 6 to 12 page kind of stories. But I thought even if I stayed in the 12 to 15 range, I could do more like 4 or 5 instead of just 2, and cherry pick out of these the ideas that just keep coming. Fun idea. It's gonna be great. So that's where we're at. We're wrapping this up. I mean, here I've got, it's hard to see, the pink lighting. It makes me jaundice, as everyone says. I'm yellow. It makes my drafting table pink. But we've just got penciled pages here that need some inks. They're not quite finished pencil-wise either, but they're close. Let's show some of the last few pages, using as reference right now. This one here that Rob Wilson called The Passion of the Scarecrow. We got that. Here. Oh, the Scarecrow. We love the Scarecrow. Fun character to draw. Fun character to write. He's crazy. He's fun. And the story moving right along, and just saw new colors. Basically, all the colors are done for Monsters Exist, except for 2 pages that I'm adding now. So I've got 2 pages to add that I have to draw for Monsters Exist, story number 1. And part of the reason I want to do these 2 pages is because I was talking with James, and it was a genius idea. And it's really not going to change the story at all. It's going to add a nice, fun transition from Monsters Exist into the next story. And so I gotta let Demir know that he's got 2 more to color before Monsters Exist is done. But like I said, he's gonna lap me here soon. I've been really slow with pages. Before it was a lot of streaming. That was always the excuse. Got the full-time job. Got responsibilities, stuff I have to do. And lately, though, it was having the girls here, and again, it's like I knew they were going home soon, and I just had to enjoy every moment I had with them, so it wasn't getting as much done. So this weekend, I really want to just hunker down and draw a lot. Today was a really, really weird day, though, so we will get there. But 2022, what a year, like I said, and 2023 on the horizon, and we will see. I have plenty of plans. Broken Compass Comics, James and I have talked about what we want this year to look like. We have a few books that we want to put out. Definitely Unconditional Shelf Volume 2 looks, I want to put it out around Halloween again. James has several Magnificent Bastards issues he wants to get out this year. As long as they can get past the issues that held up the first one, which is very close to print. I know I keep saying that, but it is. And then both him and I were working on a story together, a one-off, potentially a one-off. Who knows? It's popular enough. You just keep going with it. But a horror story from the mind of both James and Odin. We're both co-writing it. And then I'll be drawing it. I have a very specific style that I want to use for the artwork, which is going to be fun and dangerous. But I like to live dangerously. And then James is working with another artist on a book called Kill Them Dead. And I've seen the art. It's mind-blowing. The book's going to be so cool. I know the fucking concept is amazing. And the artwork, also amazing. It's going to be... that's another one-off. That one's going to be badass. So, but I don't have any involvement with that one, except for like when James throws an idea at me and I go, "That's stupid. Change that." Or "That's amazing. Go with it." But that's my only involvement in that book. But excited for that, and maybe one or two other things that are along the lines of some other people that are working with us. But you never count your chickens before they hatch or whatever. I don't know. Like you don't want to say something until you know. Yeah, that's 2023, and that's only on the comic side. Like I said, I don't know where I'm going to live. And then if I do decide to move, you accumulate stuff, like all this stuff. And I go, I'm moving halfway across the country. What am I keeping? I've got 2 vehicles. I've got a truck. I've got a car. What am I keeping? What am I going to get rid of? Now, I get rid of stuff, especially if it's worth any money. Might even help with the move, Like, I'll probably only keep one of the vehicles. Which means chances are I'll probably sell my truck, which I don't want to do. I mean, I might keep the truck. But I wanted to keep the car to give it to my daughter, and then I would get a new one. I don't know. So those are considerations. All kinds of stuff up in the air. Plus, one thing we want to do, both James and I, is try to make some cons this year. And actually be in person a little bit. Because as much as we're working together, him and I have never hung out in person. And all you people, again, that 90% who are watching right now who didn't know of me a year ago, none of you have met me in person. Trust me, I'm way cooler in person. Trust me. Listen to my mom. She'll tell you. Yeah, so that's a plan. And we'll just have to see where this year takes us. So that way, when I get to this point next year, I can look back and go, yeah, you were just as confused as you always were going into a new year. A lot happens in a year. A lot happened this year. And it's going to be an emotional time, the anniversary of my father and bringing in the new year. But, I'll get the sadness and the grief part out of the way. And then really just want to rock it and create, draw, write, make stuff, have fun, entertain. That's all I want to do. And so, like I was saying, the year's been interesting with meeting people in this community or network, and then you go, I don't care about any of it. I care about people that I meet, but I don't care about what they got going on with some other person. You know, like, I don't care about that stuff. What I care about is making cool stuff that people are going to enjoy, going to be entertained by, and that they'll keep coming back because it's good stuff. So that's the plan for 2023. And as we look back, 2022 is done. Let's move forward. Let's look ahead. Let's plan, let's scheme, let's contemplate, let's ruminate, let's project a wonderful, awesome, successful 2023. Something to build on, to where we can build on that to 2024 and keep that momentum. That's all we want. So I can keep doing this and keep making fun stuff that I enjoy and that I hope everyone else enjoys. And I'm excited. Cautiously optimistic. I'm not even cautiously optimistic. I did the same thing at the beginning of 2022. This year is going to be amazing. This is my year. Well, you know, there was a lot of things that went pretty well that I enjoyed. But there was plenty that I was just like, you know, in the moment going like, what the fuck? What the hell? That's how life is. So wherever you're at, I hope that your schemes, your plans for 2023, that all the good stuff comes true, despite all the road bumps or speed bumps and roadblocks and scrapes and bruises you get along the way. Don't lose sight of the vision. And I hope you approach this year with power and confidence and courage, integrity, kindness, because without those things, you know, what's the point? What's the point of success if you don't have those? So be strong, be powerful, but always walk with integrity. Do what you know is right. And with that, that's all I got. As we move into this new year, thank you all for being a part of the journey with me. Thank you everybody who backed Unconditional Shove. What a huge, huge blessing that is to me. Everybody, even if you didn't back. Those who shared it out, those who believed, whether you believed by showing financially to reserve your copy, or you believed enough to just let people know. It's that kind of support that, keeps me going, keeps me excited to do more. And so a huge thank you to everybody who's been a part of the journey, who's had me on streams, who's enjoyed what I'm creating here. And I can't wait to get it into people's hands and have you see the full enjoyment of reading the book all together. That is the greatest joy, and I'm excited, really excited for it. So once again, thank you for being part of my journey. I hope I've been a good part of your journey, whatever little part I played. But I truly believe, like, people don't cross paths for no reason, you know. And so I tend to overemphasize relationships, and some people aren't like that. Some people are like, hey, you're my friend, you're my buddy, and then the next time they're like, yeah, whatever, you know, like, do I know you, you know? And I never understand a person like that. Like, it doesn't compute with me. I'm like, fuck you. You know? People are like, I'm your buddy, with you till the end. And then, anyway, I did a whole video on that. Pillow talk, baby. It's just pillow talk. But you get a lot of that. And that's it. Like, whatever. People are like that. I still value the friendships. I still value the relationships. Whether other people get all stupid about it, that's their own fucking problem, you know. But they're important to me. And so, yeah, once again, we'll wrap it up. But thank you for being part of the journey. And, look forward to what 2023 has to offer us. So, until next year, I probably won't make a video until, into the new year. So until next year, take care, everybody. Have an awesome New Year. Stay safe, and be pure awesome. And we'll see you next year.